عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. صباحكم الله بالخير. Good morning, everyone. We are very happy to join you again this morning, and we have a very important session. It's the first of its kind, where the head of space agencies, space organization in the Arab world sit together and talk about the region space activities. As we recall that this region has a bright history in terms of different sciences, including in astronomy, especially in the 9th and 10th century. Islamic and Arab scientists has contributed greatly to the Western and the current civilization. So I think it's fair for this region to go back and contribute through science and technology. We have seen a number of good examples, good initiatives, and today we will hear more about these activities in the Arab world and how the future of space activities can contribute to the growth and sustainability of the region. We are honored to have His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Hussain is the head of the National Authority of Remote Sensing and Space Science in Egypt, please. So he will join us in the panel. We are also honored to have His Excellency Dr. Azzedine Oussedik, is the Director General of Algerian Space Agency, please. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Amer is the Chairman of Bahrain Authority for Space Science. And last but not least, because it's a host country, Engineer Salem Marri is the Deputy Director of Mohammed bin Rashid Space Research Center. Good morning. I will start this session by give you the opportunity, kind of a few minutes, to give an overview of the space activities in relevant countries. So I think we can start with skip Salem because the host nation. We can start with His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Hussain.
Thank you, Dr. Ahbabi. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mahmoud Hussain Ahmed, Chairman of National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Science. I am working in this authority since 1998. And my applications, I work in remote sensing technologies. I would like to introduce our activities in Egypt that started in 1972 with the Remote Sensing Center. And this center started to develop since we reached to starting our space program in Egypt. This space program started in 1998, and Egypt launched the first satellite TV, first TV broadcast satellites in 1998 to start its space era. Egyptian space program started in 1999 with its first space technologies strategy. NARSS, the National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Science, launched its first Earth observation satellite, MISRSAT-1, in 2007, jointly developed with Ukraine. Through this project, NARSS built its human resources in space technology, knowledge, and basic infrastructure. Inspired many Egyptian universities, and research institutes to initiate its small satellite research, especially in Cairo University, Ain Shams University, and Alexandria University. This makes an excellent multiplier effect in the education and research community in Egypt, helping for the preparation of space engineers. The law of establishing the Egyptian Space Agency has been ratified by the Egyptian Cabinet of Ministers and submitted to the Parliament for final approval. Draft of Egyptian space law was issued by NARSS to go through the legal procedures to be ratified in 2016.
Thank you, Dr. Mahmoud. Dr. Azzedine, please.
Thank you. Thank you. In Algeria, since early 1990, Algeria established a remote sensing center dedicated to develop space application projects in various aspects of sustainable development for the welfare of their populations using Earth observation data. The remote sensing data were used and are used today in various address issues related to water resources, agriculture, environment, land planning, desertification, locust invasion, prevention and management of natural disasters, floods, forest fires, and many other fields of environment and resources management. The processed data combined with on-site data integrated in GIS has become essential for decision-making at all levels. In 2002, in Algeria, we have put in place a space program based on the requirements of different sectors. And also, the first step of this space program was to put in place human competence resources. And to put in place this human competence, we have two axes. The first one was to have these competences through universities and research centers. And the second axis was to have an international cooperation and through projects. And we have an international cooperation with countries as England, France, China, India. First space project in technological aspects was the first satellite ALSAT-1 with SSTR, and through this project we have 11 engineers who were able to continue with the second project with Airbus Defense, ALSAT-2A, developed, integrated in Toulouse, and ALSAT-2B in our own facilities in Algeria. ALSAT-2B were launched on September 2016 in India, but integrated in Algeria. And this is a space program developed, and the know-how were step by step. Today in Algeria, we are able to integrate satellites and to use them to exploit them. The next step during this year, 2017, we will launch our telecommunication satellite. And this program is very ambitious. We began in 2002 with 100 engineers. Today we are with 1,000 engineers in the different fields, technological aspects, applications. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Azzedine. Your Excellency, Dr. Mohammed,
Sure.
provide an overview of Bahrain space initiatives, and probably a few words about the space authority that really established in Bahrain.
Sure. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I must admit, Bahrain is to be considered as a startup when it comes to the space programs. But then we have an ambitious space program. The authority has recently been established a few months ago, to be exact, last year. And but there has been a little bit of activities related to space before then. One of them was we are still a shareholder of the Arabsat, which is a broadcasting geostationary satellite. But I consider our strength is in the GIS and the analytics that goes with the GIS. We've used GIS to the utmost to help the country with all the real applications for utility, all sort of various layers of utility, like the electricity grid or the water grid or the sewage, and so it's being used within the real world applications. Last but not least, we also has helped us in creating what we call the clearance, wayleave clearance system, which is, as you probably realize, that most of the countries face problems with comes to the digging of the roads, because then one utility would come and dig the road for something, then another utility next day would come and dig it to lay another cable or of some sort, whether it's telephone or fiber or cable, electric cable. With the wayleave clearance system, I think we have sorted out this problem, so there is a good coordination. People are using one unified system that make them help them do their business and be able to approve and grant permission for requests of wayleave. But our ambitions will have to go beyond that. We have laid down our space program, and I think we are trying to work it out. But unfortunately, also it just coincides with the current financial turmoil in the whole world, not just the region, because of the oil prices. And that's where we have problems that we need to sort it out. But we have an ambitious program that would start with a space ground station, and hopefully go with the remote sensing satellite in the near future, hopefully.
Great to hear that. Now Salem will provide probably an overview about UAE space sector in terms of capability, diversity, and how it's relevant to the future in terms of economical reasons.
Thanks, Dr. Mohammed. I think actually probably a lot of the people here know a lot about the UAE space program. It's very diverse, as you mentioned, Dr. Mohammed. So we have commercial telecommunications satellites in Yasat and Thuraya, which started about 20 years ago. And they are used for government purposes and for commercial purposes. So this is something that we can see a tangible benefit from these programs. We also have government remote sensing programs. So Dubai Sat 1, Dubai Sat 2, and Khalifa Sat programs, as we heard yesterday. And these programs are for, we would say, it's basically a joint program. So it's for commercial purposes. It can be used also for government purposes. But also there's a big purpose that we develop these programs, that's knowledge transfer. So building capabilities and capacity building. And I think that aspect is what gives us a sustainable space program here in the UAE. And we also have another aspect which really shows the diverse nature of the UAE space program, which is that we have the Mars Hope mission, which is a science program. So we have commercial telecommunication, we have government and commercial remote sensing, and we have science programs. Maybe the last one I'll focus on, and I think that is the one that really pushes us into the future, is the education. So we have so many different universities here, about 5 different programs that are developing CubeSats. And the people that will be coming out of these programs will go directly into the different space programs I just mentioned. And that's very important for us going forward.
Great. I think the second round of the question will be how important is cooperation, because we do understand that space is all about cooperation. It's very expensive, high risk, difficult, and the only way is probably through cooperation. I would like to hear your view on the regional cooperation and international cooperation.
Regarding the cooperation, this is very important for Egypt to cooperate in this field, particularly on the regional level. And let me talk about our current status, because this is including what we are looking for the future cooperations with countries in this field, because we can't work in this field alone. This is important to integrate with other countries in these fields. The present status of the space agency now in Egypt is we have now, after we launched 2007, our first satellites, and the lesson learned from these satellites is to build our engineers. And we aiming to manufacture these satellites 100%. And we put our plan for this. Now we have about 200 engineers specialized in space systems. Specialized in laboratories. We have different laboratories in developing complicated high technology space system, communications, optical payloads, and software, all of these used for space applications. We are looking for space applications very seriously in Egypt, in national projects, because this is really very, very important for the development. We have strong data processing systems, and these data, including archiving data and update, includes SAR data and LiDAR. We have the system of LiDAR in Egypt, and all facilities we are facilitating for our experts. Assembly and the integration and testing facilities under construction for many satellites classes. Egyptian space program have already started to build our own technology for manufacturers, satellite systems, and subsystems through several parallel projects. And these projects started last year and ending by 2023. Operational satellite track, MISRSAT-2, we are talking about 200 kilograms. Experimental satellites track, this is about 60 kilograms. And satellite subsystems and platform, this is communications and payloads for other subsystems. Educational and technological track satellites, we have very important projects with universities and some meaning organizations in Egypt to build our satellites, cube satellites. This is about 2 to 3 kilograms. Regionally and internationally cooperation, we cooperate with many other countries, and besides several agreements and MOUs we did, all of these MOU are signed and cooperative. We are cooperative with many organizations on the international base. We are looking for the future plans First of all, we are looking and we have supported from the government to push our cooperation with Arab countries and international countries. We are operative our assembly technology facilities by 2019. Space City will be established in 2020. SAR satellite is 2022. And our human resources and capabilities should be increased to be more than 500 engineers. This is our very near future for space technology in Egypt. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mahmoud. Dr. Azzedine, can you provide your insight on the regional and international cooperation and how it's important for emerging space nations?
Thank you. At the international level, we have in Algeria several agreements and with international, with other countries. We have agreement in space activity with England, with France, with DLR, Germany, with India, with Russia. At the African level, we have agreements with Nigeria, South Africa, and Egypt. And we are putting in place an African remote sensing management constellation. We have in North Africa a regional center of training in Morocco, affiliated to United Nations. This center gives trainings to North African students. And at this level, Algeria is very implicated in this center. And we have also in Algeria, we are putting in place a space law to take into account the regulation aspects in the frame of international law in space. And what is important in our cooperation is how to exchange experiences and also how to share capabilities with other countries and how to share data. And the main objective is in Algeria, in our space program, the know-how transfer. Know-how transfer through projects or through trainings. But we are very, very inclined in with our other Arab countries to cooperate and how to share with them our experience, and particularly with other Arab countries which are advanced in space activities as Emirates or Egypt, and we would like, and Saudi, and we would like to share with them our experience and to find some important actions together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Azzedine. Dr. Mohammed?
Sure. Due to the stage we are in Bahrain, I think we are all for cooperation, because then we can learn from each other and then we can tap on the strengths and of each other and try to make steps forward. So, and I've seen it working with different countries over the years. I've seen it how it worked with the UAE and the Koreans. I've met some of the people here in the audience in Korea a few years ago, like 7 years ago, 2009 or before that. So I saw how cooperation between different countries can strengthen the capabilities and the capacity within other countries. So and we have the cooperation between us now and UAE, and I feel like there is a lot of benefit that we can get out of the experience of the UAE, and if we can expand that to include also the rest of the Arabic countries, I think that would be definitely a positive move, and we can learn from good things that they made and bad things also they made, so that we don't have to commit the same mistake again. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Salem, can you just say a few words about the importance of local and international cooperation with the focus on UAE experience, especially Mohammed bin Rashid Research Center in terms of knowledge and technology transfer with the Korean, because Dr. Azzedine mentioned they have similar approach with with France, and I think it did work.
Yes, definitely. I think maybe to start off, I would say that in space, international cooperation is now the norm. So if you look at projects like the International Space Station, such large projects on that scale would not be able to come to fruition if it wasn't for large-scale international cooperation. Now, going down to our level, I think in the last 20 years, many countries, as we've heard here today in the Arab world, have focused on cooperation and building up their capabilities through cooperating internationally with either the US, Europe, or in our case, South Korea. And I hope going forward that, after we've spent this time, I think the next step for us is to start to cooperate together. That's definitely one big thing for us. Now, to focus, as you mentioned, Dr. Mohammed, on South Korea, we had a similar experience as our Algerian counterparts, where when we took off in the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center, the number one strategic goal that we looked at was to develop our manpower capabilities, because that is what we looked at that would give us a sustainable space program going forward. And that is why we decided to cooperate with our partner in South Korea, SATRIC Initiative, and we really went into a very long-term cooperation with them for about 10 years, and we're actually still cooperating with them to this day. And we started with first of all, a knowledge transfer program where we sent about 10 engineers, fresh engineers, and they participated on developing a satellite that already existed. And then we shifted into a joint development program. So we decided to design a satellite with them from scratch, and it took about 5 to 6 years to actually complete that satellite, which is DubaiSat-2. And the third phase for us was actually nationalizing and moving that development to the UAE. And we started in 2 phases. The first phase was the initial design phase, which happened in South Korea until our facilities were completed here in the UAE. And now we've shifted back to the UAE, and we have our team, which is about 100 engineers and scientists that are focusing on developing KhalifaSat, which will be launched in 2018.
Great. I would like now to shift gear to another question, which is about planning. Space programs needs plan and probably long-term planning. I would like to hear, have you taken some initiatives, steps in order to put some documents or some guidelines, kind of like space strategy, space plan, what will be done in the next like 10, 15 years, or still in the process? I would like just to hear from you, Dr. Mahmoud.
Yes, regarding this, we have a plan to manufacture our next set satellites. This is a series of satellites starting up to 2023, and this aiming to reaching to 100% of manufacture in space technologies. And this is very important for Egypt to get this area. The other important plans is how we can build our relations in Africa. And we are hosting now and establishing what we call African Space Agency in Egypt. And this is very important to look for cooperation with African countries. This is very important, and working together in manufactures and applications. Applications is very important for the country and for the future, particularly for the crisis management, because we have a lot of problems related to the natural hazards. And this is one of the important issues we have to monitor, and we have to have some early warning systems to predict these hazards. Also building our capacity in human resources and in manufacture, this is important, and we have a long-term plan to give the private sector in Egypt some opportunities to manufacturers in these space technologies. I think this is long-term plan we are looking in Egypt for this.
Great. Dr. Azzedine, in terms of strategy or policy or something that has been issued or documented?
Thank you. Actually, we have our space program is the projection is 2020, but we are preparing today a space program 2040. And the objective is to master all the space systems, telecommunication or Earth observation. Today we are able to integrate satellites. In the future, we would like to master the subsystems and to have to put in place an industrial network in space activity in Algeria, in relationship with other countries. And also, what we would like to put in place is to let space activity be useful for people, for populations. So it is the main objective.
Yeah.
And for sustainable development, to let every economical sectors, as agriculture, environment, and water resources, take benefits from space activity in order to let people be convinced that space activity gives them solutions in their life. And also we would like to share this objective at a regional level and international level, because space is useful for all humanity, not only for one country. This is our main objective. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Azzedine. Dr. Mohammed?
Sure. We have outlined our plans, and there's a clear strategy and as an outline with a vision and specific space program, which is in line again with the Vision 2030 of Bahrain, the economic Vision 2030. And I think it's very ambitious. But I think our focus will not be really in manufacturing the satellites, more on the use of the data that we can grasp from the satellites themselves. Because that's where I feel like we should, the added value. You can build up refineries, but then I think the value is in the oil and also the refined oil.
Yes.
That's where we feel like the value of the data. So the focus of the strategy is on building capacity, but more on operating satellites as well as analyzing them.
Great. Salem, UAE issued its national space policy and tried to regulate the sector. How do you see how important these regulations in order to further develop UAE space activities and sector?
I think 2014 was a key turning point for the UAE space sector, and that was the establishment of the UAE Space Agency. And under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Khalifa and yourself, Dr. Mohammed, I think a lot of successes have come out of that in a very short time. Going back to the previous topic, international cooperation, I think there's been a lot of government-to-government agreements that occurred during this period, and that has really helped really propel the UAE and put it in a big international standing, and we saw one yesterday with South Korea. Another aspect, as you mentioned, Dr. Mohammed, is the launch of the UAE space policy, and then this, I believe, is a comprehensive policy which includes all the different fields that are currently in the UAE and also the potential future ones that we might be exploring. So this is something that's very important and very unique, to have a comprehensive space policy. I think the next steps coming after that, as Dr. Mohammed has announced, is the UAE space strategy, and then obviously the UAE space law as well that would come shortly after that, are also aspects which will make the UAE space sector very resilient, at the same time regulated to the point where it will be beneficial for all the entities in this field to obviously grow and explore.
Great. Probably we might ask a question about human factor or human capital, which is skilled. It's not numbers, but space required high level, high tech skilled people. Dr. Mahmoud, how do you see the best way to educate and attract young people and engineers to work for the space sector? Is it like through cooperation with universities, through nano satellites, small satellites? Is this a workable approach in Egypt?
Yes, thank you. First of all, we have to look for this point first from the awareness point of view. We want to increase the awareness in our countries with the importance of space, particularly space applications. This is very important, and this is directly feel with the people in the street. They can feel how the importance of this. Building our capacities, yes, we started from universities. I think we have department now in many universities in Egypt working specialized for the space technologies and application remote sensing technologies. And I think within the next few years, we will have graduate qualifications from the universities, have very good base on the space. I think this is very important to establish for all the Arab regions. We have to cooperate in these ways and advance our courses and practice laboratories in the universities, because we want these graduate students to come to entering the space system and the space technologies with a very good base in this direction. This is what we have started in Egypt.
Great. Dr. Azzedine?
Thank you. In Algeria, we have for the training aspect, the education aspects, we have a doctorate school constituted by a network of 5 universities and giving trainings for masters and PhDs. And in the same time, in our cooperation with our other countries, every time we have a space project with a country, it must be followed by training aspects. For example, with England, we have a lot of PhD and masters, which followed the ALSAT-1 project with French for ALSAT-2 project, 2A in Toulouse and 2B in Algeria. It has been followed by a lot of PhD and masters with China, with India. And we know that human resource is essential for the successful of a space project, for any project. And in Algeria, we have also, we use also the competences of the regional center of Morocco, affiliated to United Nations, and the Asia and Pacific Center and Arabic Center in Jordan, affiliated, all affiliated to United Nations. And today, with this policy of training and education, we have had in the past, as I said, in 2000, 100 engineers. Today we have 1,000 PhD and masters all around our space program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Mohammed?
Building capacity, of course, is the most important. It's the core of any activities that we do in Bahrain. And we see it in different levels, building up capacity when it comes to people specializing in space and space-related technologies, but also building awareness right from the beginning of the school years till they build up the awareness. I think that's what we lack at the moment, but this is a good opportunity for the time being till we come up to the first phase of implementing the strategy, that our focus should be built in building the capacity and making them ready when we are ready to launch the first phase. We don't suffer from leadership commitment, because that I think we are secured, because the whole program has been initiated by His Majesty the King. So we've got the commitment from the highest leadership in the country. It's a matter of trying to sell the idea to the public and create the building capacity. So we've been working with universities and the Ministry of Education for the schools to try to build up the awareness as well. So definitely the building capacity and is important. Human resources, yes.
Thank you. Salem?
Yes, I think obviously there's many ways it can be done, and one of them is what I mentioned is where an entity could partner with an experienced entity and go into knowledge and technology transfer, where here you're actually actively building capacity on a live project. Obviously these types of projects are very important, and this is actually how the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center started. Looking at maybe something that we see as more sustainable is that the universities have to participate deeply in educating the future workforce. Maybe in the early days in the UAE, in the late 90s and early 2000s, that wasn't quite prominent or evident, but I see now in the last probably at least 3 to 4 years, active participation from the majority of universities in the UAE in the space program. So there's a space center that's being launched in Al Ain University, which is a very diverse space center that's focusing on communication, Earth observation, space sciences, which will support the space industry. There are universities such as the American University in Sharjah, which we partnered with to develop NAIF 1, a UAE CubeSat. There's also entities such as Masdar, Khalifa University, that are starting either space science projects or CubeSats. So I think now the universities have really started to support the sector. And for us, that's very important because that is going to be the future of the sector going forward.
Great. I see we have 5 more minutes. So I would like just to, as I mentioned, space has some challenges. And if you can just in 1 minute, summarize the main challenges that we are facing as a region or as an individual country in order to move forward in space activities. Dr. Mahmoud?
When we talk about the challenges, we have a lot. Challenges is very important word to succeed in any projects. You have to have how to overcome these challenges, and I'm not seeing that the challenges is difficult to achieve. The challenges is just kind of steps in our work plans to overcome, and it's easy to challenge any problems faced you during your work plan in space technologies by good cooperation, exchangeable cooperation with people, and open our hands to exchange ideas and implement projects together. I'm sure that this is one of the important issues. Probably seems challenge to achieve, but I'm sure that can happen, particularly on Arab regions collaborations and in African countries collaborations. This is very challenge for Egypt to make and implement these 2 important issues. As well, we have very good relations with all countries, and we open our hands to start any kind of cooperation related to space and remote sensing technologies.
Thank you. Dr. Azzedine, main challenges?
Thank you.
The main ones.
The challenges, first aspect is that the appropriation of complex technology is a challenge in one country, and to work together to master technologies is another challenge. But I am sure that this Congress in United Arab Emirates will give an impulsion to be able to advance and to share some projects for the benefit of our people, our countries, and our Arab nation. And what is important is to let our populations be convinced that space is useful for the development. Is not only to say we master space, but to give solutions to sustainable development and to let development be the main objective of space activity. So challenge is to be able to work together with the objective to give solutions to our populations for the development. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There is a list of
Yeah, of
challenges.
course. The main two.
I can, yes, one of them is, of course, the financials,
Yes.
because as everybody aware, the space programs, normally costly, almost inhibitively costly. So, and when it comes to the situation right now with in the region where we are hit with this financial turmoil, that we have a problem to sort out. So it's a big challenge. The other one, I think, is the secularism of the public, because they feel like they have problems on the ground, and you're looking up. You need to help them in solving their problems on the ground itself, on the land. So I think we need to come up with a solution to all of these problems so that we can move forward. Somehow the leadership has realized that setting the bar high is important, because then it will lift the spirits and people to work it out in different fields, because I see the space science is not one science. It's a composites of sciences, engineering, and physics, and chemistry, and all disciplines of the science world. And setting the bar, as I said, high will make everybody work towards achieving that goal.
That's true.
And hopefully also with that, some innovation comes into the picture.
Great. Salem?
Yeah, I think in the Arab world, some of the challenges we face is getting youth active in the space program, and also getting more women to participate in the space program. I think another aspect is actual tangible cooperation between Arab countries. So we do talk a lot about cooperation, but we need to see some joint projects or something tangible. Another challenge I see is probably with the private sector, and in some aspects related to the transfer of knowledge and the transfer of technology, and some limitations in that on some projects. So I'm obviously talking about the overall Arab world here, so I would see that as a challenge that, we would hope that more private sector companies would look at it as a win-win situation to cooperate with different Arab countries and building the capabilities in those countries so that eventually, hopefully, they would be long-term partners with them.
Great. I think we are coming to end this session, but we might ask ourselves, what did we learn from this? I think it's great to have at least 4 Arab countries have space agencies and a space program. If we recall, like a few years ago, it was not the case like this. I think this is a good sign that there is a direction, there is a trend in the Arab world to focus on this sector and try to promote it for the benefits of the countries in the region. I think there is also great interest in terms of cooperation, regional cooperation between the Arab countries, and this is, of course, our homework to find ways how to cooperate. Let me thank the panelists for their insight and for their contribution, and I would like also to thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.